I'm Tommy Costello, and welcome to the Costello Coaching Podcast. I've had the privilege of working with the top athletes across the country, helping them earn college scholarships and reach the pro level. Whether you're a coach, athlete, or parent, I'm confident you'll find value here. If you do, my only ask is if you share this with another parent, coach, or teammate. I hope you enjoy this podcast. And we're back with the Costello Coaching Podcast. I'm Tommy Costello with a fantastic guest today, Michael Snyder. Michael is what I think of as a great friend of mine, first off. But second, an athlete that I have the privilege of working with. I've watched this guy go from a college standout to now a professional baseball player with the Miami Marlins. And I'm ecstatic to have you on the podcast.
Tommy, the pleasure's mine. Excited to be here.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for taking the time to do this. Mike, something about doing podcasts, grabbing the microphones, putting the cameras on. When I've done it with great friends before, what I find interesting is I actually learn a lot about someone when we do it this way that I feel like I already knew before. Because I think what this does is it sets up for an environment where we can get to know each other on a deeper, different level. And so what this podcast is about, I know you've listened to a few episodes before, is understanding your story and then trying to connect that with the people who listen to it so that they can grab something from it to improve either their life or their baseball journey. A lot of parents, a lot of players listen to this, and what they do is they can kind of learn through your experience. So personal things will arise, baseball journey, and just kind of where you're at as a man and where you're moving in life right now. So I'm excited to share this with you.
Let's get it rolling.
Yeah. So the first thing that I want to ask you tonight is you sitting here now with all the knowledge that you've accumulated. If you got to look at your 15-year-old self, so that's probably rolling into your freshman year of high school, you're a freshman baseball player, what kind of advice are you giving your 15-year-old self?
Yeah, great first question. I would have to say investing in my relationships and taking time to enjoy the process, however that goes, good, bad, whatever. Just taking the time to roll down my window, take a look outside, like smell the roses, as they say. And just really going in on my relationships with my family, my friends, my teammates, teachers, whatever the case is. Like, life is so short and we have to take advantage of our relationships and build those up, because that's what's going to give us the most happiness inside. It's not being a professional and making a ton of money. Like, that's great. But for me, I would say put in more time and effort into my relationships with friends and family, and embrace those moments that you look back, you're like, wow, like that small little nugget sticks out. Like, that brought a smile to my face and that really lit me up inside, because, money and fame and whatever, like that doesn't do it. Like, you smiling on the inside and feeling that burning desire of making somebody's day does. So again, family, friends, investing in friendships and memories.
So you're telling 15-year-old Michael, hey, look at your teammates, lift people up, be as present as you possibly can be. Because I'm sure you're a 15-year-old in a highly competitive situation. You went to Harvard Westlake, right? There's phenoms left and right at that school. And you're in a highly competitive atmosphere. Were you not focused on the relationships? Were you more focused as you kind of reflect back on just getting your results that you wanted, and you didn't, enjoy the people that you're around? Is that where you were at, or is just that the advice you'd give yourself?
I think that's just the advice I would give myself. I was very diligent in my work, in baseball, school, and relationships. I had a lot of boys on the team that we were all tight. I would just say, looking back and reflecting, even more so, like, take the time to enjoy those moments just a little bit more, maybe be more present on a daily basis and uplift and bring energy to the baseball field. And like you always say, serving others. We're here to serve. That's different for many people, but serving those dudes that you love and play the game with, and, or playing outside and off the field, doing whatever it is you do, just going all in on that, because that's what you remember. You don't remember how good somebody was. You remember what kind of person they were.
For sure.
And what kind of friend they are.
Totally agree. And so you're 15 years old, you're at Harvard Westlake. Were you a varsity guy right away?
Out the gate, JV, starting shortstop. So it was great.
Sick.
I got to stay at shortstop, which is great, before getting moved later on. But, hit leadoff, hit third, just like super cool. as a bigger dude, as a freshman. It was cool to lead off and just kind of like be the spark plug of that JV team. And it was great because I got to develop at a little bit of a slower pace. I wasn't just shot up to varsity and thrown into the fire at Harvard Westlake. Again, highly competitive. So having that year of like transitioning into high school, figuring out who I am as a person, as a 15-year-old, like I don't know anything, nothing at all. So JV was a great time to kind of figure some things out, like building relationships with my coaches. Sean Court, best head coach there is. Just like a great time to have an intro to high school.
Sweet. So you're a freshman, you have a good JV year, you go off to play in that summer. During that time, younger guys could be recruited. Were you recruited at a younger age, being a big time player? You're obviously with the Marlins now. Mm-hmm. You played at University of Washington, played at University of Oklahoma, two premier schools. Most kids in this area are kind of getting looks, around that time. Were you in that category?
For college or high school?
When you were in high school, were you getting looked at by those schools, early on in your high school career?
Not a chance at all.
Really?
For me, it was senior year, nothing from freshman to junior year. And, junior year, that first day of September is like the day you're eligible to get looked at and coaches can talk to you, like nothing, like at all. So senior year, Ronnie Prettyman from University of Washington reaches out via email. Hey, want you to come up for this MLK weekend camp. Want to see you play. Personal email, not like the mass email they send to everybody. Go up to Seattle, me and my dad, go to the camp, do well, show off some good skills, whatever.
So this is the fall of your senior year.
This is fall of senior year.
Wow.
So late in the process.
Okay.
Go up to Seattle, have a good camp, talk to Prettyman, Lindsey Meggs, as we know.
Coach Meggs.
Go Dogs. At the end of it, offers me a walk-on spot, and I was thrilled. I was blessed with an opportunity of a walk-on. Because it was the only offer I had out of high school, a walk-on, and it was great. I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to be wearing the purple and gold. Like, this is what I'm doing. It was a very simple decision. Me and my dad get to SeaTac, and we just kind of like looked at each other, gave like the nod, and just, this is what we're doing. Like, didn't talk about it more. Like, next day I call Prettyman, hey, it's going to be a dog. That simple.
Nice. And were they pretty fired up?
They were fired up. Another SoCal guy.
What did Coach Meggs say?
Oh God. I don't know. He's so stoic in his ways that it was just like probably like a nod and like a firm handshake, trying to turn my wrist over too. Like,
nice.
Just like getting in there.
Yeah. What was that like playing for him? What was your experience playing for Coach Meggs? So for those who don't understand, legendary college baseball coach, known for being pretty hardcore, holding the line tight with his players. And I played for him. I actually went to University of Washington as well. So Michael and I, when we met a year ago. We got to have that commonality of playing for the same coach and living in the same city and share some of those stories together. What was your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I was with Lindsey Meggs for 3 years. Out the gate, like hard-nosed, blue-collar, lots of bunt defense, lots of first and third, lots of ground
18
balls.
18 plays for first and third.
18 touches, cut off this, that. Hitting ground balls to second base, moving the runner over, like typical West Coast baseball. Looking back, I love my time there. I thought he was a great head coach for me because it reminded me of Harvard Westlake in terms of just kind of the blue collar. His mentality was like being tough. Like, we're not going to worry about all these other things that we think matter versus like what actually matters is us competing, being super tough and just diligent in our process. So for me, people like him, people don't like him. I was a fan of him because of the way he handled the team. It was toughness. It was just getting gritty. And some guys didn't like that. It might have been too rough for them.
I think one time you told me a story about where he kind of chewed you out in the dugout and it like sparked a fire in you.
Oh yeah.
And you played your ass off the rest of the game or the rest of the season.
Yeah. I'll share this story real quick, but it's against Cal. We're at home. We're on Montlake. It's freezing cold, whatever. Like, we're on defense. I'm playing third base. Stuart Flesland's on the mound. It's a first and second. They lay down a bunt. It was a tweener. I let the pitcher get it. Left-handed pitcher, for those of you who know. It wasn't like hard at third, but it was kind of that tweener. Stewart picks it up, throws it to first. Noah Sue standing at 5'3", goes over his head. They score, just like shit show. I get back in the dugout. Snyder, come here. Grabs me like not by the collar, but like grabs me and he's like, that's your ball. Like, you got to have that. That's your ball. Left-handed pitcher. You know that. He can't throw that. And then he goes on to say a couple things I can't repeat here, but it was like, do you want to be a practice player? Like, that's all you're good for here. I was like, oh, so that's where we're going. You know, just being called like a practice player, like straight to my face, mid-game, fresh off that bunt play. I was livid, not outwardly, just internally like.
So it made you more mad than upset.
Yeah, I didn't take it personally, like, oh my God, like he's offending me. No, like matter of fact is like, I do need to make that play. But it just pissed me off in the moment so much that I was just angry at him, for sure, at him. And just so like livid. I remember going on deck, like my bat wag was a little bit firmer. Like my intent and my focus was tuned up, like cranked up. I go up there, first pitch, runner on second, fastball middle way, like scorching hot line drive right field, RBI. We're up 2-1 in the 7th. Like,
nice.
Kind of a cool moment. I was like, wow, like that honestly benefited me. You getting in my grill and like getting on my ass. So blessing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I want to back up just a hair. You're from freshman year to senior year. You're watching so many players get offers, opportunities as a high schooler. For those that don't understand, Harvard Westlake has been one of the most premier high school programs in the country for the last 15 years. And you're this physical 6'3", 215-pound dude who's ready to dominate and performing really well. Played varsity as a sophomore, right?
Correct.
And you're not getting any love. You're not getting any looks. You have teammates getting drafted, guys getting full ride offers, and you're stuck with nothing, not until you get one walk-on spot, you know, in the middle way of your senior year, which is very late in the game, especially for baseball. Now, did you lose any belief in yourself? Did you change any of your goals? Did you think less of yourself? What were the conversations like at home? How did you keep that belief to, you know, make these things happen? Because the reality is a lot of those kids that got offers and got opportunities and were big time prospects maybe with you and had PG rankings and this and that aren't playing now, and you're playing with the Marlins. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, great question. I've been asked this a lot, have kind of broken this down to high schoolers preaching for advice. So yeah, I think throughout the whole process, I never once was down on myself, was thinking, oh, am I playing the right sport? Am I doing the right thing? Not for a second. I remember vividly talking to my parents almost every day about it. Not in a bad way, not like in a coddling way, just like matter of fact is like, I don't have any interest and that's okay. Like had a good junior year, cool. Go into senior year, have a good fall. And if you just stick your nose down and like literally take it one day at a time, like practice, school, rest, just do your normal process, like go throughout every day the same with the same steadfast mentality. Like it will work itself out. And my mom was influential in just instilling those words into me as well. Like, hey, like that's okay. Like it might be the fall of your senior year. This isn't the comparison game. It doesn't matter that Johnny's going to UCLA as a sophomore. Like it doesn't matter. You're not him. He's not you. You have a different story to write. So I think being just very diligent in the process, like, and not worrying about it because I have zero control over it.
So you always kind of had that innately.
I have.
And it's just interesting to me that the advice that you would give yourself is pretty much, it seems like what you were doing actually. And so what's funny is the reason I love starting with that question, and I ask myself that all the time, is it's probably the advice that you give yourself now. And I think the biggest growth that I've seen over the last year in knowing you has been you have this certain uptick of an emphasis of enjoying the people that you're around. And I think that's what gravitates us together, is because it's not just work. It's not just what you need to do. It's not, oh, I'm going to go hit. Oh, I'm going to go work out. It's just, no, I'm going to enjoy these moments that I have with these people around. And I really believe that when people take that approach, it's easier to do more work. And when you're putting in more work and you're putting in a higher level of focus with a higher level of effort, you'll get better results.
Couldn't agree more. And just to touch on that point again, like as a high schooler, having kind of a little bit more of a mature approach, like my parents are everything to do with that. You know, the way they raised me and just conversations we would have in high school. Like the reality is what it is. And You can't spend time wasting energy about something that literally does not exist. So again, like staying so committed to the process and just okay with whatever happens, because at that point it's out of your control. Like whatever happens literally happens. And I was blessed with a walk-on opportunity, and that was that. And like, it was the coolest thing in the world. Like coaches, teammates, super excited for me. It was just a great time, and really the fruits of just staying committed to the process and not caring about someone else's journey, because it's not mine.
Yeah. What do you think made the shift for you? Just looking at your stats from college, statistically speaking, if you look at your stats, you made a transition from a role player to a key player. And maybe that came with age, experience, reps, but I'd be really interested in maybe if there was an internal transformation with you as a person that made that shift.
Yeah. Love this question. Early on in my career, went from a defensive replacement to, being in at third for for all of my time at Washington. Played third base, maybe first every now and then, but third base at Washington. I grad transferred to Oklahoma.
So you think that at UW you were a role player, and then you go to OU and you become a key player?
Yes, I would say so. Like Washington was good. Like I played well there. Didn't play to my full capacity by any means, in my opinion. Was a leader on the team, but definitely was not like the key player. 100%. So yeah, transitioning to Oklahoma, senior or grad transfer, I think not just as a baseball player, like defining skills and new set of eyes, new coaches, new teammates, new environment, new culture, that definitely played a role in my development and my uptick as a baseball player. But I really think it has to do with things outside of baseball, maturing as a person, gaining new experiences. Like when I met you, that's a whole other story, but like becoming a different person essentially, and taking care of what matters. People matter, not your individual accolades. Like me, you, training environment was a huge boost for me. And so I think taking that into Oklahoma helped me have the season I had, amongst other things, such as training and different emphasis on what I needed, what Michael Snyder needed as a hitting development standpoint.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I know that, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, because there's a lot of important things that happened with you in your career at Washington, your growth and development there, and then how you transitioned to OU and the new environment sparks new thoughts, new feelings. And I know that the coach at OU, at least from what you've told me, was very team emphasis. We're going to be bonded as a unit. We're going to do this as a team. We're all team focused. Every at bat, we're in the box together. That type of approach. And then you get to pro ball, and it was, from what you said, a massive culture shock in the terms of how the actual game was played. Like you're in there kind of by yourself in the box. You don't really have 32 guys on the rail with you. Whereas college you do, and maybe at OU you had that a ton. And so now there's that individualized component of this team sport. Being a professional athlete, you're a commodity now. You have a value piece on you. And that was from, just us having conversations about it. I know that was a tough transition for you. Yeah,
it was an experience unlike any other that I've had thus far in my baseball career. And it was something that I never really thought of, because I've been in college for 5 years. You have teammates, and the only goal is winning. Like that's it. If you lose, it sucks. You win, it's great. You move on, chance of the playoffs to go to Omaha. Like that was it. Go to pro ball, it is more individualized. Like winning at a low A or minor league level, that's not the importance, right? Like winning at the big league level is. So, amongst development and coaching and environment, yes, very different, but the individual aspect was the biggest kind of turn for me, and is and was the biggest adjustment that I will make going forward, of just kind of harnessing that college mentality of like team, and bringing that into the pro scene, I think, just a little bit more. And for me, that's building relationships with my teammates, like having fun in the dugout. Like it doesn't have to be a funeral. Like we can cheer each other on and say really stupid things to make each other laugh, whether that's at the batter, at your pitcher on defense. Like have feel. We're baseball guys. Like don't be an idiot, but like have fun. It's okay to smile or like show raw emotion on the field. And that's something that helped me my last year at college, was just like being raw and being my most true self. And that helped me as a person and just as a player and a person in a leadership position on that OU team.
Yeah. Rolling in as like an older guy, being a fifth year guy. How old were you? You're 22, 23?
I was 23.
So you're 23. You got some 18-year-old teammates, some 17-year-old teammates in the fall. You obviously roll in as like this dude with this presence. You're a big physical person. Did you feel like there was a little bit more room for you to be yourself in that environment?
1,000%. I think going to a new place, I had a fresh slate. I could essentially start over and kind of reinvent myself. There was at Washington, I was on the team for 4 years and I was the person I was, and people knew me as that Michael Snyder, which I go to OU. I didn't know a single person. They don't know me. The coaches don't know me. They don't know how I play, how I act, how I just am as a person. So I took that time to really like harness my true raw self and just be free with it. They had no prior knowledge of me, of how I tick, how I do this. Like I could essentially just like not reinvent myself, but just stay true to myself.
Be yourself, yeah.
Truly be myself. And it was the greatest gift I have ever had.
It was just that rebirth and getting that fifth year.
It was a rebirth. It was a rebranding of myself and a discovery of what my true potential is just as a person, and the energy I can provide and the people I can inspire, especially those young kids. I'm a 23-year-old, I roll in as the fifth year. Like I have a responsibility to my team to lead. It's not put a C on your shirt, you're the captain. No, like we had a lot of older guys. I was one of 8 seniors and like very veteran team that had established a really good culture past couple of years. So I'm rolling into this thing like.
And you guys won the Big 12, right?
Oh yeah, we did. Big 12 champs.
That's so cool.
Oh, it was great. It was the coolest season ever. Could have been better, but I mean, amazing. But rolling to that as an older guy and taking kids under my wings and showing them what quality work looks like and how to go about a good process. And you show up to practice early, you get a pre-routine in, you're hanging out with the dudes in the locker room, you're hitting after practice when it's dark and you don't want to, like reps you need to get, and having somebody to do that with, somebody to rely on, is kind of a role I accepted and just kind of embraced because these young kids need it. And it was really fulfilling to just help them get better, whether it was hitting, ground balls, life, it didn't matter.
That's awesome. So you took some guys under your wing, and that was really something that, as you tell the story and I watch you, it seems like it's something that energized you as a leader and as a player. And I know just watching your at bats from afar this past season and cheering you on from a distance, you really came up in key moments. Key moments is where you were super successful for your team, and I think that's directly connected with who you are as a guy, but really like stepping up and doing it for those teammates that you've invested so much in.
Absolutely. Because before it, at UW, I was a leader, but I knew there was more in there. I refer to it as like the silent leader. I led by example. I always worked hard and did the little things right and took care of business. However, going to Oklahoma, I was like, it can't just be that. There's more in the tank. I need to be more vocal. I need to get outside of my comfort zone and literally be more vocal, be a bigger presence, be bigger than yourself here. Like, it's not about, don't be afraid to speak up, like voice that, like be in the fight with your teammates. And if you need to be a spokesperson from your teammates to the coaches, like be that. Be honest with the coaches. Don't be afraid just because they're in a position of authority. Like, you have the power to do so, and they will respect it. So being a more vocal leader was something I did my best at and really worked on, and it really paid off for myself as well as the team.
What do you think college, even pro players, are most in need of right now?
Most in need of?
Yeah, because what you're referring to and what you keep reciting back to, like with all your experience, and you're offering so much value in sharing your story and sharing your experience, and you keep leaning into the things that have worked for you, and you constantly touch on leaning into people, leading into leading others, and you really want to stay in the process of the work and putting in extra work and showing others on how to put in the extra work, and you're so process orientated, and that is what's bred your success, even though you've never been this marquee guy where you've been known by a lot of people. It wasn't like you were a first round draft pick. It wasn't like you were PG #1 player, but you're living the dream and you're right on track to accomplish what everyone sets out to do. And that advice you keep giving it's an interesting thing to think because I constantly ask myself, what are my players most in need of right now?
Yeah.
And as I think of them as a whole, I have some thoughts on what I feel like players are most in need of. And then as I make it down to an individual level, as you know, as every athlete knows that works with me, we get down to a really granular level of what you need. And we get really specific on what is going to make Michael achieve what he wants to achieve. How are we going to go from where we're at to where we want to be? And what are the specific details in which we're going to do? And as a whole, though, as you're around college players, you're at multiple universities. You're now in professional baseball. You just came back from the Dominican Republic and saw the way that they're doing training in the DR. What do you think as a whole the college and professional players are most in need of right now?
Yeah, I think along, skill development is obviously like a huge thing, like harnessing your skill or a skill specific sport, taking the time to get very, like you said, very specific with our strength and conditioning, our baseball work, our throwing programs. That is, I think, probably the most important, but also as I keep mentioning, becoming a better teammate, I think takes the load off your back. And it's something you don't think about in terms of how is this going to make me a better ball player, because it's not as tangible of an idea as, let me get on this high ride heater machine and hit these foam balls at the back net versus how can I lead others and be a better teammate? It's something less desirable, I would say. It's something that I think just kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit. Coaches don't think about those aspects that could really influence a player. And maybe all that player needs is not to hit a ball 500 feet, but it's how to be more present and engaging with others, because in turn, he will have less stress, less things on his mind, and perform better. So that's how I like to approach things. It's yes, it's physical, but
do you have any ideas on how to get someone more into that state of mind?
I think
because what's interesting about you, and I think there's some things that that you're not even tapping into in terms of you do a lot of things to show up the way that you show up. And you show up with a great amount of presence now in your life. I don't know if you were like this 3 years ago. I didn't know you.
I was not.
But my thought process on this is when I think of what players are most in need of, number one word that comes to mind is support. They need support. And they need someone that cares about them and loves them. And, if you achieve at the greatest level, great. If you don't, that's fine. You're a couple good moments away from achieving it, even if you haven't already. And to have a player to know that, I think is probably the most important thing that they're in need of right now. And I think when you're giving to so many players and you're giving as a leader and you're giving as a person, when we give something, it comes in return to us. Now, back to how you show up in order to be ready to give is everything. So my thought is people have a great time at a wedding. People have a great time at a prom. People have a great time at these locations and events where they have to, be prepared for the moment, whether it's physical and they put their best clothes on, they shower and do their hair and they feel really good about themselves when they show up to the spot. And so if everyone's feeling really good about themselves when they show up to the spot, and they're presenting their best self, usually the collective group has a good time. And what happens, I think, a lot of the time is people disregard the importance of taking the time to set some time aside to dedicate to themselves so that for the rest of the day that they show up with their best self. And I know that you're into a lot of great routines in the morning. And if you give Michael a call at 6 a.m., he'll be like, good morning. I'm out here getting my sunlight.
So
early
true.
morning sunlight, going for a walk. I'm on my third mile already.
Oh my God.
And he grabs his energy that way. And I think that's reciprocated. And so we're a lot of ball players, and there's no knocking this, shaming or blaming it, but a lot of ball players will be playing video games till 2 a.m. They'll put down the remote, go to sleep, and they might not have had a great meal the night before. They wake up, they, shuffle their hair around, brush their teeth, and kind of roll out the door. And then they're just showing up, and they're like, all right, now I need to get to it. And I think that's there's a big difference there. And
yes,
it's a big difference, but a small adjustment. And so I think if players were to invest a little bit time into themselves as humans and prepare for the day, they would be able to show up with a better attitude and they would get some more energy back in return.
Yeah, I think great point. And we can get into morning routine and this and that, but I think just grounding yourself in a couple things you enjoy It doesn't have to be this Huberman super specific, like I have to follow these 10 things and like in order to be productive. No, like take a couple things that are, healthy for you and just like do them. Like if you enjoy it, do it. If you don't, cool. Like it's not for everybody. Like do what works for you. And I think that will just kind of find its own natural flow. For me, like getting morning sunlight, doing these things, like love doing it. Taking a cold plunge, cold shower, great, like locks you in. And I do these things because it just like, it helps me set the tone for the day. Like you do a couple things that you enjoy doing and it helps you physically, great. Like win-win, locks you in for the day, locks me in just like, all right, like let's attack the day, start it off on the right foot and being consistent with that. So it's like, oh, like when I wake up, like there's no like debating, there's no arguing with myself about getting out of bed or making my bed. Like you just take care of business because it's what
right
you
out
do.
Of the gate.
Out the gate in the book, Make Your Bed by William McRaven. Like amazing. Just you set the tone with your day by doing the first task, which is making your bed.
Yep.
My dad has talked to me about that religiously over the years.
Do it every day.
Do it every day. And as a kid, I'm like, dude, Dad, like, can you shut up?
Yeah.
But then now I'm like,
Thank you.
You were so right. And I hate to admit that to my dad, but you just get up, you do a couple things to stay regimented and you set the tone. Like you're starting the day with momentum. Like you have that flow of energy going to the day. And there's no greater gift than just like having some momentum.
Yeah. So leading into that, it leads right into this. And what I was thinking about when I was preparing for this is, what do you think is the biggest point of growth that you've seen in yourself throughout the year? We're at the end of 2024. So throughout this year, January to December, where has been the biggest point of growth? So much has happened for you. You played your first season at Oklahoma. You won the Big 12. You accomplished the first point of your dream of being a professional baseball player. You had your first professional season. You're having your first professional off season. You made money for the first time.
I'm on salary.
You're on salary.
Come on, I make some money.
Let's go. Like a lot of things happened, but you as a human being, you as Michael Snyder, where do you think you've grown the most in 2024?
Yeah, this has been the most influential year of my whole 24 years of life, hands down. Between people I've met, goals I've achieved, whatever, like amazing. But I think the coolest moments, the biggest growth for me has been taking more risk. And what I mean by that is like getting uncomfortable with daily decisions. Like, oh, like you don't want to be as vocal, like go be more vocal, like go say hi to some strangers, like get outside your comfort zone. You're at a coffee shop, like talk to the dude next to you, or you're on a walk, like say good morning and I love your outfit, like whatever, like just putting yourself out there and kind of networking at the same time. Like you're not doing it to gain anything from somebody else. You're doing it to be kind and to spread some joy. Like you saying hi to somebody on your walk might make their day because they're so glued to their phone and trapped in their music or whatever. Like say good morning, they might say it back and they're like, wow, like that dude's like super, super nice. And he said good morning. Like, and to you, you just said good morning. Like it's nothing big, but it's just stuff like that, like getting uncomfortable and just trying to instill joy upon a random person.
Weren't we on a hike the other day and there was someone walking by and you're like, hey, how you doing? And they like
hey,
duck down to the left.
Yeah. Like don't avoid those moments.
Yeah. What do you think of the duckers that are like ducking down?
The duckers, oh, they're terrible. Like walk with your chest up, have a smile and have some presence. Like it might be uncomfortable. Like it was uncomfortable for me 20 years of my life. I was the ducker, but now I'm like the guy that's overly nice.
I can't imagine you being the ducker ever.
Dude, I'm telling you this past year, like life has flipped in a positive self-growth way. Like I just look at it differently. I don't take it as serious. It's not that serious. Like enjoy it. And part of, for me, what kind of gets me going, just like being happy, being free, being loose, like dancing a little bit in the weight room, like
yeah, good times.
Having those good times.
Salah Khalib,
just doing things are funny. Like it's not serious, bro. Like enjoy it. Say hi to the stranger. Say hi to the girl. Like talk to the mom that you're friends with. Whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Just embrace it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. You know how to talk to the girls, obviously, with that beautiful face of yours.
Stop it. That's for you. Come on.
Well, Michael, the last thing I want to ask you is, what is your biggest goal for 2025? So you've made this shift, I guess, in personal growth as in a personality way of being more open-minded, walking around with the right kind of energy, receiving the right type of energy. back to you. What do you think is your biggest place of improvement or your biggest goal or your biggest focus for the year coming up?
Yeah, I think just one, taking care of business, having a great off season thus far, like continuing to get bigger, faster, stronger, really specific skill work, becoming more fluid in my movements. And those things are great. And again, continuing on a personal level, putting yourself out there, being uncomfortable, doing things you normally wouldn't do. It just helps you open up. And I think doing that helps me as a baseball player too, on the field, like connecting with teammates better and just getting to know people more. As terms of goals, like kick ass and continue to climb the ranks of the Miami Marlins organization. Like, why not? Like we're here, might as well do it, and just enjoying the process. But like, we're here to take care of business and kick ass. So yeah, that's the goal.
So in this off season, and something, I don't know if you want to touch on it, but I'd be interested to just hear your thoughts in terms of your focus this off season, technically speaking. What have been the biggest points of emphasis in the way that you've used probably the first 4 or 5 months outside of competition to improve your technicalities? Like maybe there's a player listening to this that's keenly interested in what you're doing technically right now in the weight room, skill side. Are there anything that, you really feel like have worked for you that might work for others?
Yeah, I would say for me, as a bigger dude, corner infielder, corner outfielder, bigger type of bat. Like for me, having a strong physical foundation, getting faster, moving things that are really heavy, really fast. Like not just grunting and moving heavy weight and being slow. Like, no, we're high tempo, like sense of urgency with the type of lifting I'm doing. Like moving things really quick. A lot of jumping, a lot of sprinting, plyometrics, like move freaking fast because you're already big and you're a big machine. Like, let's move quick. Let's run, let's sprint a lot, like speed work, speed deadlifts, squats and bench press and banded, assisted, whatever. Like that's the focus and the emphasis. In terms of skill work, controlling my ball flight, like having good ball flight, learning to pull the ball a little bit better, but overall moving better, being more fluid.
So what does that mean for you, moving better? Yeah. Like get a little bit more specific. Someone like, they're like, listen to this. They're like, oh, well, move better. Okay.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah. For me, that's being more fluid in my movement. I have a tendency to be more rigid and stiff and tension in the traps and the shoulders and being a little bit more robotic. So for me, it's grabbing a water bag, grabbing some straps and finding fluidity within my move. And
nice.
I think that helps me just, again, we talk about momentum, like momentum of my swing, like having pre-pitch rhythm, having
a little flow,
like thinking about it as a wave. Like that's how I kind of internalize it. It's like I'm a wave, I'm moving. And when I get going, like I'm just flowing through that wave. Like I'm not start, stop, start. It's start and just like continue that and holding that flow, holding that energy. I think energy and flow are the two words that kind of tick for me.
Yeah. What I'm kind of learning about you, and I don't mean to be foo-foo with this, but as I learned a little bit more about like your history and like who you are, which surprises me because I think you grabbed a whole different type of flow 12 months ago. And when we met, like you had a great energy about you the first day I met you, and you were really gravitated towards the training and what we were doing and how it was unique and different. But it seems like for a long time in your life, you were pretty rigid in what you would do. And you're pretty stiff in what you would do.
Correct.
And now the whole emphasis of your life has been around being a little bit more open, being a little looser, being a little bit more carefree and happy and enjoying and things like that. And you enjoyed your teammates at OU and you embraced those humans and you embraced those people. And all of a sudden it loosened you up. And the biggest thing that I've witnessed with you, and when we sat down and talked and I looked at you crazy that when you were contemplating if you were going to go work out at OU for a couple of months or if you're going to work out here, I was like, listen, dude, we got to make some changes with how fluid you are in your movement and where your flow is. And I think a lot of times what we'll see in athletes, if you study, like at the level in which I've studied biomechanics and studied athletes on the field and watch them make their moves, their personalities show up there.
Interesting. Yeah.
You watch Bryce Rayner. He is flowy, loose, boom, snaps. That's him as a guy too. He's flowy, loose. You need to be locked in. You need to be focused. Boom, he's dialed in.
Yes.
But he's not stressing about it 10 minutes later. And guys who hold a lot of tension a lot of the time, like myself, like I held a lot of tension when I played. I'm more loose than I've ever been now in my life. And I'm more open for things to come and go. I'm stronger and I'm healthier than I've ever been before.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of your predisposition of how you're, viewing what your work is, what you're doing, and how you're showing up doing it is highlighted in your performance. And it's something that I haven't talked with you about yet, but it's something that I want you to start to think about is, how do I take these personality adjustments? How do I take this, life momentum that I've had and what I'm doing in life? And how do I let that kind of carry into my game?
Yeah, no, that's like, we haven't talked about that. And you just like lights are flickering in my brain because I never made that connection of, your personality and kind of what makes you tick off the field, how that is emulated to the kind of player you are. I just
remember like 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, whatever it was. And we were in the cage and what I told you. And do you remember what I told you?
You said when you're hitting, like hit, don't think about this, that back elbow. Like when you're hitting, you're hitting. Yeah. Go hit the ball, go see the ball, compete.
Let all your work that you're doing in the weight room, in your drill work, in your skill work, show up on the field for you.
100%.
And that was the big message is let those things show up. Like don't make the most rigid thing you do in your life in the box.
Yeah. You have no chance of hitting a baseball.
Yeah. And you do though, because you've done it pretty rigid for the past 23 years.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great things happening in there and we don't need as big of adjustments as we think in life. Like
I agree.
Small adjustments, a little open-mindedness, in order to go out and perform at the ability that we know we have. And so a lot of times when I hear athletes that will be talking about, man, I just didn't really maximize or max out what I knew I could do. And for those that don't work hard, sometimes that's kicking them in the ass and being like, hey, you didn't max out because you never pushed yourself. You never worked hard.
Yeah.
On the other end of it, on the other end of the spectrum is people who worked really hard like us and at one point and didn't feel like that they're maximizing their potential. Even though that they were doing all the work, they were putting in 12 hours. They were doing the job. They were doing their best. They were putting in their best effort. For those athletes, it's like, let it happen, let it flow. Yeah. And once you get that acceptance, then things start to happen for yourself. And that was, I think, your biggest growth factor in 24. And in how you take that into 25 is you allow yourself, and this is me just coaching you right now.
For sure, I'm listening.
But in 2025, I think we can help you center your focus and your goals more so around how do I let myself show up on the field of play in the way that I want to show up. And that's not to be, like I said, a little esoteric or a little foo-foo-y. It's visualize how you want to show up on the field. Do you want to be that athlete that's loose in the box with a loose T-spine and they whip that barrel through? They see the homer, they pimp it, they look at their teammates, they pound their chest and, they jog around the field and they're firing up their boys, even if it's in high A and no one wants to be there and there's 7 fans in the stands in frickin' Ohio.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. Like, you have to visualize those moments. You have to see how you want to show up and then allow yourself to do it because you have done all the work. For the athletes that haven't done the work, the conversation is get to work.
Yes.
But for the guys that have, it's allow yourself to perform at the capability you can.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Allow myself. I love that verbiage. Like, allow yourself to just go do it. Yep. Like, there's no thought. It's unconscious. It's letting my body take over, and I don't have to turn my brain on. Like,
you're unlocking yourself there.
Unlocking. You're freeing yourself up. You're taking the monkey off your back. Like, just let it happen.
Let it flow. Let it flow. And you're more than enough to succeed. You have all the physical capabilities in the world. You do show up as a leader. You show up as a leader in our weight room for all the other pros you work with, the high school guys that you come back in the evenings to help and mentor. You show up as an incredible human being with the best energy ever. And we absolutely love having the ability to, and the luxury to be able to work with you. And I'm so grateful for our friendship and everything you stand for and everything you're about.
Yeah, well, that is well reciprocated. And I would not have this energy if it weren't for me meeting you last December.
I don't know about that.
No, you're wrong. I'm telling you, this isn't like a discussion. Like, I'm telling you, you have had more of an impact in my life than you will ever know. I told this the first day I met you. I told my mom, got home from that practice. I was like, holy shit. Like, I don't know what came over me. Something's different. Next day, I'm acting different, wake up, just energized. And so many wonderful things came about literally just meeting you and feeling that first like bro hug embrace. Like, what's up, Mike? Like, great to meet you. I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. You showed up to a baseball practice. We were coaching a travel ball team, and our friend Tara said that you should come out. And I think I was late to the practice because I was like doing something.
I showed up and it was me, Kyle, Robbie, and I'm in my C4 Energy shirt. And Tara was our mutual friend that introduced us to each other. Hey, you should come out to this practice and check it out. Like, meet Tommy. I had no idea who Tommy was. Like, sure. Show up to the practice. Tommy's running in late, like yells across the field, like, what's up, dude? And, like since that moment, you invited me to lift the next day. And that was just the snowball effect of our training and our time together. It went from like me meeting you at a random 14U Easton Arsenal practice to you training me, us having connections from UW, even Oklahoma, friends, family. It's just like weird things, weird pieces fit together. And like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, it just, energy happened.
That's super special and super special. So I think we should do this at least one more time before you leave.
I agree. I love this.
Yeah, this is fun. I think there's a whole nother avenue that we can travel down and more people we can help with this conversation.
100%. There's so many young kids out there, high school and middle school, that don't get the proper guidance and support that they need, or even just listening to a guy who's been in high school and college and now professionally just giving a little bit of advice. Like, nothing too crazy. Like, here's my experience. Here's what I've learned. And I think coming from a young male, that can be really beneficial. So
100%. So that was great. Thank you, Mike. We'll be back at it again next time.
My guy. Thank you.